they say that like a lot of contractors go bankrupt quite frequently.
Yeah.
Why is it such a risky business? Why are the margins so tight? Why are they going under so frequently?
All right. You could, let's say you got a project on there, you got a builder, everything's going fine, the work's progressing as it should, you get on well with him, good quality, there's no hassle with the money. But what you don't know is he's got 10 other jobs going on, right? And 5 of them are going okay, 2 of them are causing him a problem, and 2 of them are in real serious trouble because he's subcontracting work off someone else and their client is not paying them. So you're wrapped up in this chain that you probably don't know about. And that's one of the reasons that smaller building firms go. If you're doing an HMO sign, you might just have a bloke in a white van. He's got a couple of friends with him. He knows a plumber, spark plus. That's the extent of his firm.
Yeah.
In his bank, he's got no money. He's probably living week to week. Maybe he's got a couple of grand. He's not set up to take a financial hit. When you say why do they constantly go under, a lot of these firms, they start off with a single man. Say me, Spark, I get offered a bit of work, bit more, but I think, I could make some money. Why don't I take on a few people? And I'm good at the work, and I work 7 days a week, and but I'm not good at running the business.
Yeah.
I'm not good at putting the VAT away. I'm not good at making sure all my men have got the correct training courses, health and safety. Then there's an accident on one of my jobs, and I'm up in court getting fined 75 grand. It's just wiping my firm out, There was one friend of mine, she had a project just down the road to me on the seafront. I won't bore you with the details, but it was a big house refurbishment. So anyway, I got my friend to quote the job, but he's a reputable builder, and he said 120 grand, right? And she said, that's far too much. So she got these 2 pair of jokers who said they'd do it for almost 50 grand less.
Oh my God.
Right, anyway, one thing. But turned out she had to get rid of them. She's got
Too good to be true.
These other fools on it. And it ended up going nearly 100 grand over. And she spent a year in bed with a breakdown. And again, it's all that thing of, you should have gone with my mate. He's reputable. If he says it's 120 grand job, then it's an 120 grand job. That's what I'm saying. So, and these first pair that she threw off, it turned out what they were, one was a brickie and one was a plasterer, and they were working for a builder, just doing extensions. That's all they were doing. And they said to each other, we can have a go at this. Why don't we set up? We'll put some ads out. We'll get a van. And so they've took on her projects. And this was major, structure with massive steels in and everything. Way, way, way out of their league, And now they're just back probably working for wages for someone else. So, but if you, as a property developer, want to protect yourself from this, there is a way, and this is the tender process. It's using the form, the pre-qualification questionnaire. And one of the things in there you should ask is, please provide me with your last 3 years turnover, right? Because if my job's 250 grand, if all you've been turning over the last 3 years is 100 grand, this is a big step up for you.
Yeah,
right?
I can imagine.
So have you got credit accounts with suppliers if you need to take on 10 more men, can you pay their wages? And also you want to ask what other jobs they've got going on, because what you don't want is them to be over trading.
Stretched.
Because that means they'll start your job, they'll take a drawer off it, you'll go there one day, instead of 10 men being there, there'll be 2 because they're back finishing this other job. So it's doing due diligence on the contractors. And there's a process for that, that a lot of people either don't know about, or I can understand when you're new to this and you make the decision that you're going to have a go, right? And then you invest in £250,000 once you've bought.
And you want people to have a go at
yeah,
That's the beauty of capitalism, right? It's like, let's take a
exactly.
risk.
This is the
Let's make a beautiful
entrepreneur.
home. Yeah,
Well, yeah.
exactly.
And so a couple of builders turn up, and finally one turns up, and you sort of get on well with him, you gel with him, and he's providing input, and you think, yeah, we could do business with it. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. And people find it very, very awkward to then go, right, before we move any forwards, I've got these forms here, due diligence, please provide me all that. People don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets awkward. So it's all sealed on a handshake. And then the thing is like, can I have 20 grand up front? You know, and that is how it goes wrong for so many people.
So actually, exactly on that point, I put out a post on my social channels about and you know, the hook at the beginning was builders are not going to like this, and it was about the fact that you should always pay your builders in arrears. And it got a lot of traction to the point where there were a few builders that came out and said, "What, you expecting us to bankroll this deal?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not expecting you to necessarily bankroll the whole project, but certainly you get paid for the works that are completed. And if you have a tight cash flow issue within your business, that's okay. That's also all right. We can just do valuations more frequently. We can do them on a weekly basis. We can do them fortnightly basis.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait monthly or quarterly." Which it was anyway. It became a point of contention. A lot of people obviously agreed. Typically, they were the developers, and then the people that are disagreeing were the builders, saying, you know, we wouldn't ever do that. Some of them were being more reasonable, saying we'd want a deposit up front, whether it be 10% or 30% or whatever it is. But what's your take? How do you approach? How do you work with clients that are developers? What would you advise them on how to approach payment terms with contractors?
All right, so I can only speak from my own experience, right? Me personally, I never pay builders up front. Never. For several reasons. One, I come from the tier one contracting world where everyone's paid usually 90 days in arrears.
Exactly.
Right? And two, it's like, look, mate, if you can't pay, this is your operation. If you can't fund your operation, that includes vans, petrol, materials and wages, for 1 month, you're basically insolvent, right? Now, I don't really want to get in a financial relationship with you. He will come back and say, I'm not insolvent, but it's a risk to me.
Literally.
Maybe I won't get paid. And two, I'm not funding, bankrolling your job. So now we come to the allocation of risk. I completely understand what he's saying. Then I will, because contracts should fairly apportion the risk. People think a contract is all in the client's favour and it can be used to beat the builder over the head with if it goes wrong. And it's not like that at all. Risk should always sit with the person best suited to handle it, right? If that's a financial risk, I like this builder, I've seen his work, I've done due diligence on him, I've spoken to him many times, he does know what he's doing. He's telling me he needs, there's some bespoke windows, right, that there's a 6-month lead time on them and the factory wants 25 grand up front or they just won't make them. Fair enough. What I will do then, he's not best suited to handle that because he ain't got 25 grand. I am. But I don't need to give him the money. What I will do, I will go to the factory or I'll give it to him and say, make these windows, but I want a vesting certificate.
Yeah.
Right? That means those windows are mine. And I don't need them on site for 6 months. At any time within that 6 months, I can just turn up at the factory unannounced and say, show me my windows, right? Or if the contractor tells me he needs 10, 50, 100 grand up front to pay rate or whatever, okay, give me an advance payment bond. And what that is, it's an insurance certificate that he would go to an insurance company. Typically, he will pay for it. Cost him 2.5%. So if he wants an advance payment bond for 100 grand, he'll give them it's an insurance premium. 2.5 grand. The bond will be between me and the company. I'll give him the 100 grand. He don't do the work. He don't turn up, runs off of it. I'll just go to the company. Now the risk has been correctly apportioned. It's been mitigated from both parties, right? But if you don't want to do that, my flat answer is just no. It's a risk.
Yeah.
It's a risk, and this is just how business goes. But if he was to go, let's say he's quoted me 100 grand, and he thinks, right, I could fund that, but I'll have to get a business loan, which is going to cost me 2 grand over the life of the project. If he just stuck that on his tender without telling me that it's for the finance charges, and that's 102 grand, and I still want him to work, I'd be more than happy with that, you know. But how you run your business is nothing to do with me.